Makes me sad, man. Curl to discontinue its HackerOne bug bounty due to too strong incentives to find and make up problems in bad faith that cause overload and abuse. Guys, this is not the first time that I've reported on our friend Daniel Stenberg here. If you don't know, Daniel Stenberg is the CEO, what he calls a code-emitting organism for the curl project, right? Both curl and libcurl, which are fantastic pieces of software that allow the entire internet effectively to work between it and wget to make web requests programmatically is kind of the end state here, right? So if you're not aware, for a long time, right, Daniel and friends have fought against the era of AI. They have fought long and hard. He's over here getting awards. Look at this guy. Look at him winning. No, but like against the slop reports that have exploded in 2024 and 2025 with the onset of not only AI, but supposedly, you know, AI security researchers, right? And so for a long time, the never-ending slop submissions took a serious mental toll to manage and sometimes a long time to debunk. Time and energy that's completely wasted while also hampering our will to live. The mind-numbing AI slop, humans doing worse than ever, and the apparent will to poke holes rather than to help has caused Daniel to literally remove his project, Curl, from HackerOne. HackerOne being the platform that allows you to register your code with it and receive security reports from researchers, and if they find vulnerabilities, you can pay them out. Which is the whole point of bug bounty, by the way. It is a great concept, but the incentive structure is a little weird, right? It's kind of odd that we have to, you know, incentivize research with money, kind of just the nature of the world, unfortunately. But that being said, now that we have AI to potentially automate things and no real downside for submitting garbage to HackerOne, we now have people like Daniel saying, hey, enough is enough. Yeah, so on the, I believe, 26th of January here, he removed the security-related post it here part of the HackerOne report, or the curl, you know, security area of GitHub, basically saying, hey man, we're done. A good example of what Daniel and team are dealing with, by the way, are bug reports like this, right? Use after free in OpenSSL keylog callback via SSL get external data, extra data in libcurl. A few things here. First of all, this is a report that talks about a vulnerability in OpenSSL, which is a big deal if real. However, this is a vulnerability report platform for libcurl, so not sure what we're doing here. And so he talks about the fact there's a use after free if you use this function, which can crash or information leak. It can be triggered manually, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. So let me see your code. Where's your little fuzzer harness? He has your function called my keylog callback, which don't worry about what it does. It's a callback that takes an SSL context and a pointer to a line. Okay. And you say void pointer equals get the data from the SSL context. And then in the function, they have main. They create a new SSL context. This is going to be a TLS client. We initialize the context, we call it SSL. We do some stuff. We then free the SSL context, and then we use the SSL context, and that's the bug? Question mark? Use after free because we freed it. Bro literally wrote a use after free and decided, yeah, this is definitely a bug in libcurl. And again, it's like, where is curl even involved here? So like I don't even know what to say about this. Or this one's even better. Buffer overflow in curl MQTT test server, MQTT being message queue is like, you know, it's a protocol. MQTT test server in the curl project contains a buffer overflow vulnerability due to improper validation of password length fields in MQTT. Or this one's pretty good. Buffer overflow risk in curl inet n2p and inet n2p4, which are used to convert number to pointer. Basically, it's an IP address conversion function that converts from the binary format to a human readable format. And obviously, like, this could be vulnerable to something, right? Because like it has to do with converting a number to a string. That being said, the string is like generally always fixed length. It's never more than 3 times 4 plus 3, right? Like digits. So like it's very hard to get this wrong. But okay, let's give this guy a break and see what can happen. Okay, so he says, use of a stir copy, vulnerable to overflow. Oh, okay, stir copy. But then, oh, wait, hold on. So literally there is a guard clause. Stir len of temp is greater than size. GTFO, there's no space, right? This is literally like very basic boilerplate guard clause before you go and do a dangerous thing. And so this is like early before I think, you know, Daniel had kind of like gotten the smell test for this stuff. First of all, you can see impact, conclusion, like these, like this style screams AI writing, but let's go into this. Thank you for your report. One of his maintainers says, if the stirlen of temp is greater than size clause and curl inet ntp prevents this kind of overflow, describe what's going on here. Have you ever actually tried this POC yourself? You mentioned risk here. Does this mean you can actually not point to a real security flaw? And then you get the classic, thank you for your feedback. You are absolutely right that if stirlen of temp is greater than size, then this will not be an issue. You're correct that in the provided code, the checks prevent overflow. That being said, checks may be bypassed in a different implementation. He's like, I call slop, something weird's going on here. But then you get the classic double down, right? The AI double down where they know they're wrong, but they're gonna keep going. Why buffer overflows can still occur. Although stir len of temp greater than size check is performed beforehand, stir copy does not check the size of the destination buffer. If size of dest is smaller than size of temp, stir copy will copy beyond the bounds of dest, resulting in a buffer overflow. Brother, did you not? What is happening? What is happening in this line? What is this line? That is what frustrates me so much about AI, by the way. It's not even that we're just like wasting everyone's time from the first place. It's just like its inability to see past its own nose on certain things is so infuriating. You can tell this happened in 2024 before like the AI bots got super advanced, because Daniel, rightfully so, is like, AI slop, this is garbage. And the response is, I understand you're upset, but let's keep the conversation respectful. If you need to discuss something, I'm happy to listen, which literally is like the exact response you get from ChatGPT when you tell it it's an idiot. I have no experience doing that. But if that were something that I would do, maybe that's what I would experience, potentially, maybe. All right, but enough shitting on the bug bounty submissions, right? I want to talk a little bit just more about, like, you know, what my thoughts are on the situation and maybe what we do going forward, right? So I guess to level set here, why do we have bug bounties, right? What is the point of this system? It may seem bad to have a monetary incentive to submit bug reports, but what we're trying to do with bug bounty programs is incentivize people to find bugs and then not sell them to threat actors, right? Or even just incentivize people who are not in the exploit black market to just do security research, right? If I could tell you that you can go find a vulnerability in like a Netgear or Ubiquiti router, right, that's like remotely exploitable, and you get paid like 5 to 10 grand, maybe you go learn how to hack and maybe you go make the world a safer place. That's a cool thing. That is a cool concept. It makes the world better and you can get some cash. That's dope as hell, and I love that. And so bug bounty programs were created to effectively get rid of this weird market where people have these 0 days, they're sitting on them, and the only reason they don't like report them is they want to get paid out for their time, right? So instead of selling them to weird C&E as a service, you know, organization, we now instead have organizations that pay them out, right? So HackerOne is one of them, and that there are others. And so the problem now is when we live in this era of AI, we create a bit of a path to automation where, like, in theory, if you can get the AI to talk to you in the right way with the right prompt, there may be a world where we can automate away bug bounty programs, right? Where people can just like literally have a bot that they've written with the proper prompt, look at the source code for curl Linux, kernel, SMB, etc., and they just can churn out some money. And I do want to highlight there actually is an AI bug bounty like agent that is doing just that. This company, XBOW, holy dark mode by the way, Batman, is a company that maintains an autonomous offensive security platform that delivers the depth and results of a premium pen testing engagement in the fraction of the time, and you guessed it, using AI. And this one's legit because if you go to their HackerOne dashboard, they actually have submitted and had accepted bugs in Booking.com, Informatica, Airbnb, Tom Reuters, etc. There's tons of vulnerabilities that they have found. I think the pattern that you're seeing here is a lot of these are going to be bugs in like web frameworks, right? So maybe not source code in like Linux kernel, for example, or curl, but the fact that it can find bugs, and a lot of them, you know, so many of them are legitimate, at least half, is a good thing. Now, I want to highlight here, all because XBOW can do it doesn't mean you can do it. Sean Heeland, a researcher who found a vulnerability using O3 in the SMB implementation in the Linux kernel, makes it very clear that the signal to noise ratio that he experienced as a very, very talented researcher with a very, very well thought prompt process and like process of giving small pieces of the code to the AI, the signal to noise ratio, meaning the bugs that were real versus the bugs that were fake. And it's not just bugs, it's also a page or two long report that he has to triage and validate, is 1 to 50, right? Generally. So that means if he runs this process, he will get 100 reports, of which potentially 2 are real bugs. And Sean, has to go through and look at every one of those reports, figure out where in the code it says it's real or there's a vulnerability, and triage that, right? And so that is what Daniel and his team has been dealing with, and that's why they eventually closed down their program on HackerOne, right? I want to just make this video about, like, I think that AI security research is fine if you do it in good faith. If you do it in the way that I think it should be done, where you're using it as an assistant to help you audit the code, If you think something smells weird in the code and you've already kind of done the cursory glance yourself, you can go use the AI to have it triage, or write a fuzzing harness, right? Have the AI read the code, like have cursor read the code, and produce a fuzzing harness that's compliant with the API or the protocol you're trying to fuzz. Or maybe you don't know the definition of certain things. Maybe you're doing research on like PCI pass-through, like weird hypervisor stuff, and a lot of words don't make sense to you, so you can use the AI as like a buddy to help you out. But this shit, man, we're like making up bugs in functions and then causing programs with code that is very important to society, curl being one of them, to kick themselves out of bug bounty programs because it's just too much work for their small team. A thankless team, a team that gets no money, by the way, is just, you know, really unfortunate for the world. So if you're out there, dude, if you're doing security research, good on you, keep doing that. If you're doing AI security research, be careful. Right? Don't just submit everything and anything AI tells you. AI is dumb as hell most of the time. And all because you can do something, all because you can drink wine on a Monday night and make YouTube videos, doesn't mean you should. Thanks for watching. Take care.